Y'all, I am back. What's up? I finally have a series to review. Are reviewing Queens this season on ABC with Eve, Notori, um, Brandy. Why was I forgetting her name? Brandy, and I don't know. I think it's Nadine. I believe that's her name. But let's get into it. So this is episode 1 of Queens, titled 1999. So the way the show starts, it's an MTV world premiere music video called Nasty Girl. And we see old up guys everywhere, like all around a big old mansion. And here come Eve coming down from a helicopter. And her name is Professor Sex. So she gives a little rap, whatever, giving us sex appeal. And then we come 20 years later. Professor Sex, whose name is actually Brianna, she is married with 5 children. She's a mom and a wife now. She is no longer Professor Sex. And her husband has been having major migraines, sleeping super late. And they're just waiting for his CAT scans to come back to figure out what's wrong with him. Because it's like, he's a professor and he's been missing a lot of work. So, that's cutting into their money, or it will be pretty soon. So they got to figure out what's going on with him. Then we have Jill let me introduce everybody. Like I said, Professor Sex is Eve. If you don't know who Eve is, she's a rapper. She also had her own TV show called Eve, although her name was Shelly. Or was it Shelby? I think it was Shelly. I forgot. Anyway, it was like, just like the Steve Harvey show, like the name wasn't their name. Also she played in Barbershop. Anyway, so Jill the Thrill, who is played by Notori Naughton. She is a member of 3LW. She played Little Kim in the Notorious biopic. What else did she play in? She's played in Power. You've seen her in other things. Her name is Jill, but she goes by Jill the Thrill. She is in a confessional with a father, and she tells him that she's been avoiding sex with her husband, but she's having an affair, and she's in love with someone else. And the father is about to say something. She's like, wait, there's more. And then she just says, I can't do this, and there's a dramatic cutoff. And it's like, what other thing could it be? Because if it's not another man, what is she, gay? Then we are introduced to Butter Pecan, which, this name, but okay. And her name is Valeria. She is now a talk show host who was taken off an important segment and put on like a lower one, something about 100-old chimpanzee or something like that, something not important. And she takes a bio like that she has hidden under a napkin and looks herself in the mirror and starts quoting Little Kim. First you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the motherfucking respect. And I guess she thinks she's on a song. Cause I'm just like, is this the Locks? Like what happened? What's going on here? And then we are shown explicit lyrics. Now, hold on, let me back up to Valeria. When I first saw her, because the way the camera angle hit her face, I just knew she was old girl from Glitter who didn't know how to sing but was using Mariah's talents, just faking it for her life. I was like, is that her? But I did my research and it's not her. Anyway, explicit lyrics is Brandy, who, if you don't know Brandy, don't talk to me. I love that name. I love that name. Explicit lyrics. That's a dope rap name for somebody, for real. Like, if you could spit how B Rocka was spitting on this show, that would be a dope rap name. But her real name is Naomi. She's singing in a club and sounding beautiful, like only Brandy can. And she's getting heckled by a customer who asks her, well, first he says, going to sleep over here. Then he's like, hey, aren't you one of those nasty bitches? And, you know, it gets dead silent. And she gets up and just starts rapping her rhyme. I don't, it was just so random because it's just like, and as soon as she got done, she just looked and dropped the mic. It's like, sis, that was 20 years ago. Like, yeah, they may recognize your face, but they don't recognize the rhyme and the way you rapping it. Like, what are we doing here? Um, so the name of the group of all four girls was actually called Nasty Bitches, and their hit record was Nasty Girl. And you know, there's a montage of how big they were at one point, how big their album was, how successful they were. They were at every awards show. They even had their own episode of Cribs. Um, and then we see explicit lyrics walking out, and paparazzi asks her, you know, why did you walk off the stage? Is Nasty Bitches over? And she looks at the camera and says, yes, and gets in the car and drives off. So we had Brianna out shopping, and you know, she's walking to her car trying to get these kids off her trunk because for some reason they're just in a parking lot making out on somebody's car. And I get this for TV show purposes, but those two, excuse me, and then like she pops open her trunk, like, no, get off my motherfucking trunk with this. Like, why are y'all making out against people's cars? Y'all can't make out nowhere else. Why are you against this woman's car? And then when they break apart, the guy is like, oh snap, she's famous, babe, she's famous. What happened to TLC? And I'm just like, TLC, she don't look like none of them. And then I don't know who this little girl thought she was, but I said, you know what, this is very on brand for teenagers. Teenagers are disrespectful, don't know they legends, and don't give credit where credit is due. And she's like, you thought she was somebody important, because Brianna tells him, like, you must have me mistaken for somebody else. And she calls him stupid. You think whoever you thought she was would be out here with dirty jeans and, dirty sweats and oatmeal in their hair? And it's just like, you little bit. Alright. So she goes out to the store and she buys a brand new set of lingerie. She got her heels. She take her hair down. You know, she spruces herself up because it's like, I'm still that bitch. Like, what you mean? And so as she's walking up, was it up the stairs and down the hallway, she hears her husband moaning. And her husband is Tia's boyfriend from Sister when they were in college. I forgot his name, but that's Brianna's husband. And she hears him say, yes, you're the queens. And she slips and falls on this toy in her heels. And when she opens the door, it's him with one of his students. And she's like, really? And she was like, you know, like, you cheating on me and you cheating on me with a white girl. And the student just breaks out like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. He said you would be gone all day. So it's like, you know, this is one of his students, but it's like, so you knew he was married and you just feel like you saying sorry and you thought her being gone would explain this away. And then she also says, I don't even like wearing condoms, but I make him wear one because I have so much respect for you and your family. So this is a true crime series about how she killed this girl and her husband and got away with it, right? And she hid the body somewhere. Like, why is this not that show? Because why are y'all playing with me? I'm not finna sit here or stand here and have a conversation with you about you cheating with my husband and about how you love and respect my family. And then she goes on to tell her, because Rihanna's like, you know, I bought this for you, trying to prove to myself that I still had it and I'm not some washed up rapper. And the girl is like, can I say something? You look amazing. And it's just like, why is she not punched out on the floor yet? Like, why is she still here? And she's the one talking while he's just standing off to the side not saying anything. And when after the girl leaves, she just looks at him. And of course, to make himself feel better, he's like, you know, yell at me, scream, do something. And she doesn't give him the satisfaction, which I wouldn't either. Because if I yell and scream at you, then you get to use that and twist it against me as me being wrong in the situation. Because of course, that's what people who are doing the cheating, that's what they do. So it's like, no, I'm not giving you that satisfaction of yelling at you or screaming at you. I'm just gonna walk away. And she sees that he took his ring off, like, while he was cheating, and it's sitting on the bedside dresser. So Jill seems to have an amazing husband because she's in the bathroom, like testing to see if she's, what is it, fertile, so they can start trying to have a baby. And it says that she is, but she walks out the bathroom and tell her husband that it's not. And she's not. So he's like, oh damn, I thought we timed it perfectly, but you know what, that's okay, that's fine, this is all part of the Lord's plan. And I'm right here with you, babe, I love you. And it makes her feel even more guilty about something, because she's like, you're an amazing man. And he's just like, I'm gonna always be here for you. So then in walks this woman. And as soon as I seen the flannel and this short haircut she was rocking, I said, y'all didn't even try to hide the fact that y'all was making her a lesbian. Because she's just such clean cut with these sweaters and skirts, and I'm a do-gooder. And then here comes this woman with this short haircut, with this open flannel, and like that Prince t-shirt that's at Walmart that everybody has, which is a great shirt, by the way. But it's like, obviously, she was going to be a lesbian. Like, y'all didn't even try to hide it. And, of course, that's what it is. And she was supposed to tell her husband, but of course she didn't. She backed out of it. And, she tells the woman she's a Catholic. She was a preacher's kid. And it's just like, I can't do this. So the woman tells her, well, I can't do this because I'm not going to be in the closet with you. I want to be with somebody that I can be with out loud. Now, if you're watching me and you watch Ramblin' K, and I get what she was saying. She was like, I don't get that. Why do you have to love somebody out loud? But I do get it. It's like, it's not so much telling everybody your business. It's more so, if I just want to post a picture of you saying I love you, or if somebody sees us out in public and I'm holding your hand, I don't want to have to snatch my hand away and just pretend like I'm your friend. People don't have to know outright all of our business, but I don't want to have to, if that's the type of person you are, because I think me and her are like one and the same. When we're out in public, you don't have to be affectionate and just all over each other like some people like to be. But if that's the type of person that is, I can understand how they don't want to be stifled in this way of, I have to hide who I am with you. I don't want to do that. So she's left with her husband, who she really doesn't want to be with. So Naomi shows up to her mother's house, and her mother is not happy to see her. She's like, it's been a year. Why do you have to show up now? And Naomi says she just wants to see her daughter. It's her daughter's birthday. So the grandmother calls the granddaughter, and she's like, coming. And as soon as she sees Naomi, the smile that is on her face is wiped off. And Naomi tried to act like ain't nothing going on. And the daughter also says, it's been a year. You only randomly pop up, or you only pop up on birthdays. Like, what are you doing here? And Naomi says, can I come in? And she says, no. Like, you're not a full-time parent. You're still chasing fame from 20 years ago. You're always on the road. You don't even know who my father is. Like, I feel sorry for you. And basically closes the door in her face. Like, I want nothing to do with you. My life is good as it is. So, and then the show that Valeria is on is called The Shade. The cup with the vial that I thought she was going to take, but I knew when she gave that little speech about money, power, respect, I'm like, this ain't for her, because she ain't going to do it to herself. Apparently it was given to her coworker, and that segment that she was taken off of is this, her white co-host is sitting with a black man talking about Black Lives Matter and another black person being shot by the police. And next thing you know, the white co-host takes a sip of this cup, and she's like, all lives matter. I'm a straight shooter. If they look like a criminal, I'm going to call them a criminal. If they look like thugs, I'm going to call them a thug. It is what it is. And so then we have like the higher ups, they're sitting in a room watching it. And I'm assuming he's the CEO. He's like, what can we do about this? And Valeria done worked her way in there. She's like, we need somebody, a person of color, to get on live on Monday and apologize to the people, and that should be who else but herself. And there's a Asian woman in there who really ain't feeling it. She been looking at her sideways like, you, I know you did something. But and then Valeria tells him, we've been discussing my contract. He said, whatever you want, it don't even matter. Just get us out of this mess. So, she don't worked her way into a better position. So Brianna storms out of a family dinner because she just can't stand looking at her husband, like still trying to pretend as if nothing is wrong and they are just the quote unquote perfect family. So when she gets into her car and starts it up, you hear their song on the radio start playing, and I'm like, it doesn't sound like them at all. I'm like, what is this? This sounds awful. This don't sound like none of their voices, whatever. And so she calls Jill and tells Jill to turn on the radio. And then we just see Naomi in her car listening to herself. And her car, that is a great car, a beautiful car. It's like one of those old schools with the leather seat. It's so beautiful. It was a nice red, but that old ass radio. But I was like, what can you expect in a car like that? So then we have their former manager, his real name is Eric, but he goes by E-Rock. I'm like, your real name is shorter. Why not just go by Eric? But anyway, he approaches Valeria outside of her job saying, we should get the group back together because they owe the group and they both know what they did. So we see all the ladies catching up, like they come into, I want to call it like a dance studio, and it's all love until Valeria walks in the room because Naomi is looking at her like, bitch, and Valeria looks at her like, what's up? And I didn't like it. It seemed very, I'm probably putting 20 on 10, but like how a white woman tries to act hood, like, what's up? And Naomi jumps on her because it's like, bitch, this is what's up. And when they pulled them apart, Naomi says, that bitch stole my talent. She ain't had no talent. She was just riding my waves. And Valeria says that, in my notes, it's so funny. Because in my notes, I put that Naomi is given very much, you stole my dream, Dina, and you stole my man. Like, very much. She is Effie and Valeria is Dina Jones. So we have Little Muffin walk in, who looks like any one of these younger female rappers, just long colored weave, some crazy type of outfit. And I said she came in sounding like a SNL skit of what those old white people think that we sound like. Just saying very much a whole bunch of nothing that you cannot understand, that doesn't make any sense. And E-Rock tells them, it's $50K a piece for each of them to perform with her for the BET Awards that's happening this weekend. So Naomi demands an apology from Valeria, and Valeria says that she's sorry that she's the only one to go on to have any real fame, while the rest of them are washed up and sorry, and that this is beneath her. And it's just like, okay, let that bitch go though. And she walks out. So their blow up, because Jill asked her, she said, you really got on a plane to fight this girl for some 20-year-old beef? And their blow up is because Naomi had feelings, or was feeling, E-Rock, but he didn't return those vibes for her, and he got with Valeria instead. And Naomi says that she had to be the glue that held this group together because Valeria had no talent. Brianna, although she does not look like Chili, was on her Chili and was only worried about men, running around doing that. And Jill was being bitter and mean for some unknown reason, while she was doing coke. And it's just like, damn. So, they're just catching up, saying they want to do this, they need it. Excuse me. And Brianna explains that her husband is missing out on work and he cheated, so she needs the money, so they need to do this. Then Naomi confronts Iraq about how he did her dirty, and he tells her, you went on to have a baby with somebody else, so I did what I was gonna do. When Valeria struts into work on Monday like she did something, those same two people, like the white man and the Asian lady, call her into an office, and she is caught in 4K switching the cups around. So it's just like, obviously you had something in that cup to make that woman act like that. And she's like, are you serious? Are you really gonna call in the FBI to accuse me of something? Let's do that. And they're like, do you really want us to do that? Because if you're found guilty, you can go to jail. So why don't you just step down and leave? So she has to go crawling back to the women and say, let's do this. I want to do this. So they get into a cipher, just to get the groove back and see if they still got it. And then they're also like there's a montage of them practicing on the stage for the award show. And Cypher's whatever. Of course, Eve murders it, and she's going off about how he done lost a good woman. She ain't a nasty bitch no more. She a queen, which I don't know. That wouldn't be the word I use, because it's the fact that while she called him cheating, that was the word that like he said. He was like, oh my God, you're a queen. So it's like, now you're calling yourself like, I get it, but I would have used a different word. And then he walks in, and it's just like, nigga, what do you... So he tells her that the CAT scans came back and it's cancer, and he doesn't want to tell the kids alone. So she flies back home, or they go back home together to tell the kids. And of course the kids are crying because they're thinking that he's going to die right then and there, and they're going to lose their father soon. So they're emotional. But he then tells her, or tries to, explain that him having cancer is possibly the reason why he cheated on her. And, like, basically blame it on the cancer. Don't blame it on me, because I would never do that to you. And she looks at him like, you must think my name is Boo Boo the Fool, because nigga, I ain't going for it. And she tells him, there's no way you're dying. You don't get to die on me. I'm going to nurse you back to health just so I can leave your ass. And and she tells him, sleep on the couch, bitch. And I get it. She's like, I don't get to be upset with you the way I want to, because you have cancer. And, like, this is something else we're going to have to be dealing with. So it's like, basically, me being done wrong has to be pushed to the back burner. But that's okay, because you're going to live, and we are going to nurse you back to health. You're going to beat this. And as soon as you're healthy, divorce. And I'm taking you for all that you got, divorce. And she tells him, I'm still going to perform with the girls. This ain't stopping me, but I'm going to help you too. Jill is in the bathroom, and she hears sniffles, and Little Muffin, which is a terrible name, by the way, but I've heard worse from actual rappers, whose real name is Lauren. She walks out, and they have this heart-to-heart discussion, because Lauren feels like, everybody's in her pockets, and nobody's looking out for her. They're only looking out for themselves. And Jill tells her, sweetheart, they are. That's how this industry works. Please don't think that anybody who surrounds themselves to you, or what am I trying to say, like ties themselves to you, don't think that they're your friend, because they're not. And Lauren invites them over to her place, and Jill says, yeah, we can do that. And then she just pulls out this little compact filled with Coke, and she's like, let me put my face on. And she like puts her finger in it and says, "Oh, my bad, you want some?" And not knowing that Jill is a former cokehead, she grabs that what is that? She grabs her cross and says, "Oh, no, thank you. You know, I'm good." And she just sniffs it right on. And I'm just like, girl, you too comfortable for me, sis. Like, if you're going to do drugs, do your drugs. Nobody's blaming you. But you just all out in the open, just like, what are we doing here? um, so later when they get there, and I put in my notes that no one is dressed appropriately for the occasion. Because Lauren, when she invited Jill over, she's like, "Do you want to come hang out at my place? I got the hookup on the Benihana's delivery." So that means y'all finna be chilling at somebody's house, eating takeout, possibly just vibing together between, you know, the 4 or 5 of y'all. Jill got on her church best. Valeria, I never know where she going. And Naomi just Naomi. I didn't get. I was like, everybody look a mess. Ain't nobody dressed appropriately. But they find her upstairs in her bedroom because Jill just walked on in because the music was blasting, and they had been ringing the doorbell, I guess, and she ain't answer. And Valeria, that was the one time I was on that heifer side. She said, "You've been living in Montana too long, just walking up in people's houses." And she's like, you know, she probably can't hear us. But anyway, Lauren is laid out on the floor with her arms stretched like that, like her body is out like this. And there is that same, no, it was a little glass table with Coke on it and a rolled up note, like not too far from her body. And her eyes are like, she is staring like straight ahead, like, let me see, like this. Like you would think she was dead from the way she was posed, but she wasn't. She's actually still alive when they get her to the hospital. And E-Rock, and I don't know who the white man is because Eric E-Rock, he said that Little Muffin is his artist. So I don't know who the white man is or what he does. But he's like somehow a part of her crew because he is very upset when they get there. Like, I know y'all didn't check one of the biggest artists into a county hospital. And he's like, you know what? Thank you for your services. And y'all tickets back to wherever all y'all from is at the hotel at the desk. Thank you for your services. But Lauren later comes to apologize to the ladies and says, you know, I'm not performing without y'all. But before that, because they were all talking, because while they were in the hospital, Jill tells him, you know, turn the other cheek. And he says, what? And as soon as he turns his face, she slaps the mess out of him. And Naomi is upset because she's like, you know, he's the one that gave us this opportunity. And although he was sending us home, you know, we could have possibly changed his mind, but you hit him. And she's just like snapping off. And Naomi tells her, Jill tells Naomi, you know, go take care of that kid you abandoned. You know, how about you focus on that? And let me see, where are we? Whoop, lost my place in my notes. And it's like after that, Valeria says something, and Brianna's like, y'all are so selfish. Like, can y'all ever worry about anybody but yourselves? And Valeria, like, she speaks her truth to bitch. She's like, you know, actually, yeah, I wasn't thinking about myself at that moment. I was being free because I'm tired of having to wear a mask all the time and pretend I'm this certain person when I'm not. So, yeah, I was thinking about us and how good it felt to be back together again. And Jill takes that moment to say, I'm gay out loud. And everybody's looking at her. Oh, because Valeria, she was like, I'm pretty sure that felt good to say out loud. Because it's just like, girl, we knew that's probably why you was bitter all them years ago and just walking around evil and mean because you couldn't be who you wanted to be. So it's just like, good for you, sis. And that's when Lauren came and said, you know, I'm not performing without you guys. Thank you so much for looking out for me. So of course we get to the show, and what's her name? Lauren introduces them, and she says, you know, until recently, I didn't know about the nasty bitches, but thank God, I did learn about them, and you know, they made the way for you and me, you know, And here are the nasty bitch. And the show goes amazing. Eve looks fantastic. It was one shot that I like took a shot of my TV. It's just like, she looks so good. And you know, everybody does their rhyme, whatever, until it gets to Jill. And Jill freestyles admitting that she's gay and that, you know, her husband deserves somebody better because when she with him, she wishing that it was her. And she had called him, I think like the night before the show, and said, we need to talk. So I'm assuming she told him before she went on national television telling everybody else she was gay. And our lesbian is at home, I think with another flannel on, you know, happy about the fact that she told the world that she's in love with a woman. And so then we end this episode with it being 6 months later, and Little Muffin and the Nasty Bitches are going on tour together. So they're in for a crazy ride, and I am here for it. I cannot wait. This show is really good. Really good television. And yeah, I just can't wait to see how it's going to turn out. And I hope you guys come along for the ride and like my review. You know, peace and blessings.